Welcome back, guys. My name's Ken. I'm from Seattle, Washington. I have a nice big red lump on my head here because I went to open my car door and I hit myself in the head. Anyway, today's video, we are going to teach you how to put a proper coat of mud on some gnarly patches in the middle of your wall. Maybe you're working on a remodel and you got a bunch of nasty, gnarly patches everywhere and they're not looking so good and you're stressing. Don't worry. We're going to teach you how to put a proper coat of mud on those so they're like nice and smooth and flat. Maybe you have a full remodel. Maybe it's just one or two patches that you had to do on your house, but we're going to get you squared away. As you can see behind me, we have a wall. It's a jigsaw puzzle. I mean, that's pretty cut up. This is what we're working with today. We got a couple of other gnarly patches in the middle of the wall that we're going to take a look at. We're going to put a proper coat of mud on all of this. So even if your first coat of mud that you did or someone did doesn't look so good and you're kind of like, yeah, you're not sure if it's going to fly, it's looking rough. Look, if you do a proper second coat of mud, it'll look really nice, okay? We're going to get you squared away. But first of all, what you must know is that first coat of mud, if somebody actually put too much mud on the wall and it's bulging a little bit, you got to grab that sanding pole, sand it down a little bit. You can't have bulges. The one thing that you want to watch out for is if someone put a little too much mud on a patch or a joint, anything, which is going to cause a bulge. You can't have that. Little imperfections can be easily fixed, but you don't want bulging anywhere. Okay, let's take a look at what we got. So they had a nice air conditioning unit and they couldn't remove it and demo and then rehang the sheetrock and do it and put it up later. They chose to just cut the sheetrock around it and leave it. It was going to be a lot easier, a lot less work to do it that way. So they cut around it. There was a wall here that they had to demo. I mean, this is a full remodel. They basically redid part of the floor plan and did a full remodel. So here we go. Big gnarly joint. Starts here, comes all the way around, goes back to here. Gnarly joint there. Over here, that's a brand new piece of sheetrock on top of another brand new piece of sheetrock. So that's a factory edge. That's a nice, perfect joint. That's not a problem. But then over here, we have a nasty joint. We have a new piece of sheetrock on this side, existing wall over here on this side, and a gnarly joint in the middle. And another one. Okay. We got a few more to look at. Another nasty joint inside a closet here. We got existing wall on the bottom and on the side, but then over here they patched in a big square patch, which is going to give you this really gnarly joint here and another really gnarly joint going across there at the bottom, and they all tie in together. So that's another gnarly situation, but we're going to make it perfect. Okay. Okay, guys, I already got a bucket of mud mixed up here, ready to go. Let me show you something. There's a 5-inch knife right here. Okay. I got about a 3-inch wide bead of mud on there, and when I turn my knife, it slowly starts to come off. Okay. If it was dripping off any faster than that, it's too thin. You don't want that. It's going to end up dripping everywhere. It's going to get on you. It's going to get on your hands, on the floor. Okay. The consistency of your mud is very important. Okay, let's do one more. It's about 2.5. Okay, as far as how wide it is this way, about 2.5 inches wide. If I just hold it there, very slowly, starts to come off. That's good. If it was dripping off faster, it's just gonna make a mess. It's gonna make my life more difficult. Okay, and I just stuck the handle of my knife in the mud. It's okay. Let's tackle a patch. All right, guys, the word of the day is 14-inch knife. When you have big gnarly patches and gnarly joints from a remodel that you've been working on, it's so great to have a 14-inch knife, because a lot of the times when I put a coat of mud on, I kill that fat edge. When I'm ready to do my final wipe down, I could do one across the top, one across the bottom, and nothing but a little lap mark going across the middle of that patch. So easy to sand, and they come out so nice. So the wider knife you have makes your life easier and just does a better job. Okay. What if it's a even bigger patch? You know, one final wipe down the middle, and then one across the top and one across the bottom, and then I'll just have 2 little lap marks going across that patch. Easy to sand those out. It'll come out nice and smooth and beautiful. I mean, if you use a 10-inch knife, you'd have a whole bunch of lap marks, and it would just look bad, and it would be a lot more sanding to do. So you can use a 12. Don't use a 10. 14s are great. Many of you probably don't have one, but a 12 will work. So, but if you feel like it, if you're going to be doing this more in the future, get yourself a 14. You'll be glad. Okay, let's start. With this big patch here, we got a big gnarly butt joint coming down here, a gnarly joint coming across this way, and another one on the other side. So I'm going to skim this one first, come all the way down. Before you start, use your knife to check it, okay? There's no hump there in the middle of this joint, okay? My knife is not rocking back and forth. It's sitting nice and flat against the wall, so that's good. That means this patch is really nice and flat. That's good. It's going to come out nice. Let's check out this one. Okay. See that? It does rock because there's a joint here, and it's a pretty gnarly joint. Okay, it's bulging a bit. So that tells me that it's most important to make sure this looks good. This one's going to come out super nice. Just a real thin skim of mud across this whole thing, and it's going to come out sweet. I know that. But this one has this bulge. And this is what you get when you have patches in the middle of your wall or gnarly joints from a remodel. Okay, so we're going to skim all the way up to here. Basically, we're going to be touching that. And then we're going to come all the way down to about here. Okay, so that we'll have a nice skim coat of mud across this entire thing. Now, that bulge won't be concentrated in this little area where you're really going to see it. You'll have a nice coat of mud from here all the way down to about here. So this little bulge has now been spread out over this whole area. So it's basically going to be nice and flat, smooth. So I'm going to do this one first because this is the bad one. That one's a no-brainer. We'll do that last. And it's really long. It's about 6 foot long. So I'm going to start in the middle and do this. And then I'll come over here and do the other half, okay? First of all, just load it up with a decent amount of mud. And we do have another joint right here. So what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and skim this, the whole thing all in one shot. I'm not gonna do this, and then do this separately, and do this separately, and then you got little joints and knife marks and all this stuff everywhere. If you have, some stuff close together, do it all in one shot, and then you'll have all one nice, beautiful, clean, consistent coat of mud across the whole thing. It'll be nice, easy to sand. It'll come out really nice. Okay. Only thing I want to know is this one bulging or is it good? This is pretty good. My knife is not rocking. Okay. Obviously the joint is here in the middle, but that's not bad. So we're good. I'm gonna come all the way to here. In fact, let's go all the way down, okay? We got this joint that comes in and ties in with it too. So let's do it all. When you got multiple patches close to each other and all this crazy stuff going on, you can kind of stress yourself out a little bit because you're thinking you got to coat this one, you got to coat that one, you got to coat that one, and you got to kind of make it all look nice and tie it all in together. Don't do that. If they're close together, figure out which one's the bad one. That's the direction you want to go to make that one nice, and just coat the whole entire thing all together. So it's all one nice coat of mud over that whole entire thing as if it's just one big patch. It'll make your life so much easier, and it's going to come out nice. This one also ties in. I'm just going to go ahead and load up everything with mud at once, okay? Because it's all connected. Like I just said, treat it like it's all just one big patch. This is the side that we had determined was a little bit bad. This one we need to make sure that this one is done right, but the rest of them are already nice and flat, so just a thin skim on those will be good. I'm so glad I have my 14-inch knife for this type of thing right here. Love it. It's gonna make it so much easier. I'm gonna kill these fat edges, okay? Now I'm just gonna run my knife across everything in the right direction that it needs to be to lay the mud down flat, get rid of those waves and lumps, lay it all down nice and perfectly flat and smooth. It's not gonna be the final wipe down, but it's gonna get it to where it's ready for the final wipe down, okay? So boom. Okay. No more lumps, no more waves. That's nice and smooth and flat. Same thing with this one. Okay. This was the one with the gnarly joint right here. So I want to leave, I don't want to pull it tight. I want to leave a little bit of mud on the wall here to coat this whole thing from here all the way down to here. And it will be all nice and flat, and that little bulge will be gone. Okay, that's good. Done. Fat edge here, fat edge here, get rid of that open. One more. Boom, done. Get this one, done. Done, 100%. See a little bit glob here, so I'm gonna just give it a little half circle motion there. Get that? All right. That whole thing is just primo now. If I treated each section like it was a separate section, I'd have lap marks and knife marks everywhere. But when I treat that whole entire thing like it's all one big patch, the whole thing is perfectly smooth, creamy smooth and perfect. Very easy to sand that out. Okay, let's do this side. We're giving you a different look now from an angle. So you can see everything from a different angle. You can kind of see what my knife is doing from a different angle now. Okay, let's check it again before we start. Okay, again, this one is a pretty nasty joint. A little bit of a bulge there. My knife is rocking back and forth a little bit. This one, that's good. My knife is not rocking back and forth at all. Just a very, very slight little, I don't even want to call it a bulge, but just, you can obviously see the joint is there. That's not bad at all. And also, these are gonna come out totally fine, and I know that because there's no window shooting daylight down these walls. Okay, the work that I'm doing right now, it's gonna come out perfect. I know that, and you should too. The walls that you really want to be concerned with is if, let's say, right behind me was a window and there was daylight going to be shooting across this wall. Daylight shows every imperfection, okay? So anytime I'm on a wall and there's a window, it's shooting light down that wall, I always am aware of that, and I'm always going to make sure that basically it's perfect. I'm going to go the extra mile on those, but if there's not, then, you're good to go. Okay, so here's the bag joint. We're gonna load it up. Even though I need to be pulling it that way when I do my final wipe down, you don't want to go this way if you have a bulging joint that's going that way. I don't worry about that. Right now, I'm just getting it loaded up with mud, okay? Okay, now that I got it loaded up with mud, I'm going like this just to lay the mud down. Get rid of those, knife marks, those start and stop marks, any little waves, anything. Laying it down so it's nice and flat, okay? I can just do that quickly. I don't have to it's not the final wipe down, so I don't have to stress. Kill these fat edges. Cut those fat edges off, so now there is no fat edge here, no fat edge here. That's perfectly clean. Nothing to say. Okay. One more wipe down because there is quite a bit of mud on there. I'm just taking off some of that mud until I know that there's just the right amount of mud on that wall. We don't want too much or too little, just a thin skip across this whole area. It'll be sweet, flat, no bulging, okay? Final wipe down. That's done. That's done. I already killed the fat edge on this, so I'm gonna go like that. Get a little mud on my knife, and then I'm gonna go all the way up into the angle. Okay, and hold it there for a second. Do the final wipe down, boom. Now because I did that, now that angle is perfect. No empty spots. Nice perfect coat of mud all the way up into that angle perfectly. Okay, let's do one more. Gotta do the other side still. Okay, go like this lightly, just to get a little bit of mud on the knife. Now I go all the way into the angle. Okay, hold it there for a second because that mud will squish in and it'll get that angle perfectly. Boom. Done, 100%. The angle is perfect. No hollow spots in that angle. Crisp. Okay, let's take a look. Now, some of the little details and imperfections may or may not show up so good on video, but you can see it. That's beautiful. There is one tiny lap mark, okay, coming down the middle there that you can hardly see. So just lightly, when it's time to sand, lightly go over that with my sanding pole and it's just gonna be perfect. Almost nothing to sand, so easy to sand, okay? Let's stand back. So basically, that whole section I treated like it was one big patch. Loaded it up with mud, right? Wiped it down until there was just a thin skim of mud on everything. Did the final wipe down across everything. Okay, easy sand. Still got some gnarly patches down here. A gnarly joint on this side, a regular perfect sheetrock joint on this side. Let's tackle those. Normally, like if there was, when they hang the sheetrock, this is a factory edge to a factory edge, and those edges are recessed. So if there was no mud on here, I could go like that and I could see a little bit of daylight kind of showing in the middle part of my knife, but it's got a good first coat that's perfectly flat. So just a super thin skim of mud on here. Make it perfect. Give it one of those, just if there's any little tweezers or chunks there, okay? Love the 14-inch knife, you guys. Okay. Kill that fat edge. There's no mud left on the wall. Nice and tight. Boom. Kill that fat edge. Now, I'm going to put my knife on the wall like this, and I'm not going to lay it down flat. I'm going to keep it up a little bit and just drag it across. And by doing that, it takes off all that excess mud. Okay. Now that's basically flat and perfect. I took off all the excess mud on the wall, but not too much. Now it's pretty much perfect, perfectly flat. So one final wipe down. Now I am gonna lay my knife down flat against the wall. Just push it a little bit harder. Okay. Lay it all down with one motion, one full motion all the way across. No start-stop marks. Okay, it's good. Let's tackle this side. Again, big gnarly joint here. New sheetrock on that side, existing wall on that side. You're always gonna have a gnarly joint right there. Another one here. We have existing sheetrock, but they cut out a big chunk that had to be patched, so that's a gnarly section that we have to do. This is not a factory edge to a factory edge, perfect drywall joint. Existing wall here, new sheetrock here. Again, that's gonna be a pretty nasty joint to finish, okay? So let's check them and see which ones are good and which ones are not. This one is okay. There is a slight bulge. Like when I can see just a little bit of daylight on the top part of my knife here, and the bottom here, I can see a little bit of daylight showing. Nothing, no daylight coming through the middle. That's tight. That means that there's a slight bulge here. But a thin skim across this whole section will flatten it out and fix that. See this one. It's actually pretty good because it's existing sheetrock here and here, so we know that those are like perfectly flat and flush together. It was just a little patch here and it came out flat, so that's nice and flat. Okay, what about this one? That one's perfect because the first coat of mud was done properly. It was done right, which really made it nice and flat. When we first started, that was a pretty nasty joint. So basically, your first coat of mud, that's kind of the point. Doesn't have to be pretty. You can have little imperfections. Those don't matter. The first coat, you're trying to make it as flat as you can. The second coat, that's where you do just a thin skim over everything. Makes everything perfect, perfectly smooth, gets rid of all those little imperfections. Go. rocking at all. That's nice and flat. That's good. Someone knows what they're doing. I wonder who did the first coat on this. That guy must be a genius. All right, guys, that crazy wall is done. Final coat. This applies to you if it's your first coat or your second coat, you guys. Okay, we got another big gnarly patch here. Big square sheetrock patch right there. Starts up here, comes all the way down. When you put a coat of mud over, like if you did the first coat with hot mud, same thing. Or if you do a coat of mud over a painted wall, same thing there too. You're gonna get bubbles. Okay. See, we got some bubbles. Always get those. If you do a coat of mud over a painted wall or hot mud, you're gonna get some bubbles. It's just the way it is. So that's just the way it is, but you're gonna fix those on touch-up. I mean, you gotta touch up anyway. You know, some jobs have more, some jobs have hardly any. Anyway, if you try to touch those up before primer, if you just sand it out and then go do that touch-up, those bubbles just wanna come right back. But if you primer first and then touch up, they come out so much better and it makes your life so much easier. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with me. If you watched till the end, much appreciated. Hope it helped you out. Check out my channel. Help me grow my channel, please.